So you're gonna want to take notes because I'm gonna have to speak like in even faster than I normally do to get all this in, because I already did a Zoom about this and it literally lasted an hour, and I was gonna make it 30 minutes for that one and I literally couldn't condense it. So here we go, round two. I'm gonna try. Okay, so I have my notes here and I am gonna trim my notes a little bit to go over some of this, because that Zoom was for literally any rank Ruby and above. And although some of you might still be rubies or emeralds, you're going to understand a little bit more than probably they will, because you're a leader. So you're in this chat, in your leader chat group for a reason. So listen fast, take notes. And if you need to watch the recording, this is being recorded, so just go back and watch the recording. I also have the original on my YouTube if you want like the full version. So, okay, I titled this Zoom that I did, and I think Shay titled it this too, Popping Rubies instead of Building Rubies, because even though the company called it Building Rubies, I want to make it very clear that I did not build them, I popped them, because there's a very big difference. And I think the biggest difference is that if I'm building a ruby, it means that I got this person to ruby. That's not my goal, and that should not be your goal either, because then is there any duplication there? No. So they're never going to get past ruby and go diamond if you're not helping them understand how to go ruby. So you don't build rubies, you pop them. And then I'll explain the difference in a minute too, like what that looks like practically. But remember that we're popping rubies. We're looking at ways to find people who do the things that we did to go ruby. They show up, they get on Zooms, they respond back to your messages every day. They don't have to be the most talented distributors that you have. They don't have to have the best social media platforms yet. For me, it's, are they teachable and are they coachable? Because if they can do that, if they're those two things, I can literally teach them how to do absolutely anything in this business. And if they're not, then I can't, and it doesn't really matter how talented they are. So for me, the teachability trumps the talent every day. So that's what I look for. So I went over with them how to train my newbies. Y'all know how to do that. But one thing that I wanted to mention on that really quick is that whenever I'm training them, what's their first goal? Their 6 LCs, right? But what I want to remind you of is that the Bible says that where there is no vision, the people perish. So let me ask you this. Do you feel like you sign a lot of distributors and they all quit? Put a 1 in the chat if you're like, literally, I feel like almost everybody I sign quits. Okay. So now I'm going to say that verse again. Where there is no vision, the people perish. So why do you think your people are leaving? Why don't you think they're staying around? What are they lacking? Vision. And there's a really good book called The Vision Driven Leader. If you haven't listened to that or read that, get it. It's so good. But we have to be leaders who consistently cast vision. So if you feel like everybody's quitting, you're probably not casting vision. And the good news is that you can fix that. Okay. So, and the bad news is that at the end of the day, my enroller didn't cast vision for me and I caught it on my own. So I'm not saying that you screwed everyone up to this point and that everyone who quit, it's all your fault. You should feel really bad. That's not what I'm saying. If they really wanted this, if they were really a go-getter, they would have done it whether or not that you had the vision for them. But you're going to catch a lot more fish when you cast the vision net, right? Versus a little bitty just like, okay, and you're casting this big net, you're going to find more people. And they're going to stick, because it's not about enrolling. It's about getting these rubies, getting these people to duplicate what you're doing, because that's really how you grow your business. And that's also how you sustain your business. So make sure that you're casting that vision. So what I was saying about training is that you're teaching them all the basics. You're telling them, hey, your first goal is your 6 customers, right? But then you also tell them before they get their 6 customers, you're going to want to sign these 3 distributors, and I'm going to teach you what it means to go ruby before they finish signing their 6 customers. Why? Because you never want them to hit their goal. And that sounds really weird, because you're like, of course I want them to hit their goal. Why would I not want them to get their 6 customers? But if that's their only goal, then they hit it and they're left thinking like, well, what's next? How many of you have people who join, get their shopping spree, and then fall off the face of the planet and drop a 2? And then ask yourself, Have I taught them the next step before they got through with the first step? Probably not. And that's also something that you can change, and that's the good news. So this is not something that I've always done, by the way. This is not like, oh, I'm really great at this and I've always done it this way. And this is something that I am perfect at and I never mess up and I never fail and no one ever quits my team. That's not what this is. I'm saying I used to do it the wrong way and then I found out a better way, and that's what I want to teach you so that you can skip a couple steps that I had to go through, because it was a long process. I've been in this business for, it'll be 6 years in 3 days. It'll be 6 years. So I've been in this business for a long time and I'm not where I want to be yet, but I know I'm going to get there, but it's taken a lot of learning. So skip some of the steps. Like, just take my word for some of this, that what I'm doing now works and what I have been doing didn't. Okay. So with this mentality of not letting them hit their goal, here's what I want you to think about it like, okay? You remember whenever you were like a kid and you would jump in the pool and your parents, your grandparents would be there and they're like, just jump in the pool and I'll catch you. And then they would let you jump in, you'd come back up and they wouldn't touch you, and they're like, hey, swim to me. And then they would swim, you'd swim, and they'd take a step back and you'd swim a little bit more. And they're like, come on, swim to me, you're almost there. And they kept taking steps back and you kept swimming to them and you were so close, never quite caught up to them, and you look up and you swim the whole length of the pool. That's what we need to be doing with our new distributors. Because if you let them catch you, then they're done. But if you always move back a step, they're never going to catch you, and they're going to always be looking for what's next. What's the next thing? Okay, I'm Ruby. What's Diamond? Okay, I'm Diamond. What's next? Who on my team is going to go Ruby? You know? So if you're not creating that culture of what's next before they hit their goal, you're going to have a lot of stagnant people, probably including yourself. And I know I've been there whenever I stopped thinking about what was next. And I know a lot of people, for me, my biggest thing is like, I want to make sure that I'm focused on what's next before I hit ambassador. I've heard so many stories of people going ambassador and being like, ew, crap, it's been 4 months and I haven't done anything, or it's been 2 years and I haven't done anything. And it's because they go ambassador with the goal of, I want to go ambassador. So my goal is already Diamond 2.0. So I'm like, going ambassador and then zoom into Diamond 2.0 because I'm so over ambassador at this point. I'm like, I just want to be done with it. So make sure that you have a what's next, and then teach your team to do that too, because it starts with you. So, okay. The other thing that I want to mention is connecting them to their sponsors really quickly after training. And this is not something that I used to do, that I have realized so much value in the last year. So I used to be, and I don't know, some of y'all are control freaks like me on here, but I like to have like, if I enroll somebody, and I enroll a lot of distributors, if I enroll somebody, I'm like, they're mine. My person. And like, I'm like, let me train them. Let me do this. Let me do this. Like, you know what I mean? Does anybody else struggle with that? Put a 3 in the chat if you're like, yeah, that me. Okay. Because I feel like it was so hard for me to let go a little bit, to let other people train or help me train these people, because I didn't think that they do as good of a job. And that might sound awful to say, but I just know that no one's going to do a better job than you will, right? Like, you won't trust anybody to do what you're doing because you have control over your work ethic and you trust that. So in me doing that though, how do you think this person's ever going to learn? If I never let them lead, how are they going to learn? How did I learn? Because I led and I sucked at it and I got better. So the best way you're going to teach your team how to lead is you're going to let them suck at it and let them get better. And you're going to guide them the whole way. Because at the end of the day, we so often are like, I'm going to lead this person. I'm going to lead this person. Like, I enrolled them and I'm going to place them with, let's say, Sarah. I'm going to enroll them. I'm going to place them with Sarah. Oh, but I'm going to train them. And Sarah's not going to know who they are. And then I'm going to get mad at Sarah because she's not helping me lead. Anybody else ever been there? Because I have. Yeah. But we didn't teach them to lead. And not only that, we didn't let them lead. So one of the biggest things that Craig Groeschel talks about in leadership, and I'm only talking about this part because we're on a leader Zoom, but the biggest thing that he talks about is duplicating and the empowering leadership, okay? Because a healthy leader creates active followers. That's good, right? You tell them what to do, they do what you say. Sounds good, right? But really what's even better than a healthy leader is an empowering leader who empowers people to lead. So would you rather have a healthy follower who does whatever you say, or would you rather duplicate and create a leader who does those things without you having to tell them? And who thinks outside the box, and who creates, and who comes up with their own ideas, and who takes the reins, and who says, hey, I'm going to do a Zoom, and I've got these girls here. We're going to do a Zoom with this, right? When you look at Jade Hooper's team, you see empowered leadership. You see people who don't wait to be told what to do, to get out there and to do it. And so whenever you can be an empowering leader, a really good place to start is letting them lead. Let them do those things and let them fall on their face. And I don't mean like leave them hanging and let them suck, but I'm saying let them mess up and then go back and teach them and correct them nicely and kindly, and then they're going to be better. And so for me, what that looks like sometimes is I do most of the training, the one-on-one at the very beginning, with like by myself, one-on-one. They entrusted me and they signed up with me. So I do want to do that to an extent. So I'm partnering up with them by myself. Then once we get into host to post, which is like very beginning of training, right? So when I get to host to post, that's where I'm already teaching these people how to lead. I'm already helping, like getting these people to help me help them do host to post, help me help them remind them about a team Zoom, all those things like that. So when I'm doing that, then they are understanding what it looks like to be a leader. They see the things, and this is in a 3-way group chat, whatever that looks like for you, whether it be Facebook or text, but we do that in a 3-way group text. And so I will even go over, let's just use Sarah Seguin as an example again. So I'm going to Sarah and I'm like, hey, Sarah, you're going to want to message this girl, like, let's just say Rachel, which is funny because Rachel enrolled Sarah, but whatever. So I'll say like, Sarah, why don't you go tell Rachel to like do this today? Make sure that we're talking to her about that. And I'll let Sarah choose how to talk to her like that. But I'm going to remind Sarah, hey, let's make sure that Rachel understands host to post. I'll let Sarah go in there and say anything she wants about host to post. And then if I'm like, ooh, I probably wouldn't have said it that way, and it's not like a preference thing because I'm going to let her lead how she leads because it's going to look different than me, but maybe she was too harsh. Maybe she was like not explaining it well. I'm going to go back to Sarah, not in the group text, but over to Sarah, and I'm going to say, hey, next time, whenever I explain it, I usually kind of do it like this, and it usually makes a little bit more sense because she seems like she's a little confused. Maybe go back and say this. Now, Sarah just learned, and that girl sees Sarah as a leader. So now, if I can't be with that girl, Rachel, all the time, 110% of the time, if I can't be with her, Sarah's got her. I know Sarah's taking care of her. You know, and there's layered leadership happening there, and that's why it's so valuable to have these people, but you have to let them lead, because you can't just expect them to do that and then not teach them how, if that makes sense. So here's what I want you to do, and you're going to have to jot this list down super quick probably. Okay, so how do I identify? Another thing that Craig Rochelle says is, how do you find leaders? Well, you don't find them, you don't enroll them, you build them. And I mean, you build them as a person to be a leader, and you empower them to build their own charts. Okay. So when I say you build them, I don't mean their chart. I don't mean you build them to diamond. So you build leaders, you create leaders. So here's how you identify people to work with. So maybe these are people on your team, if you can think about this list, people who embody this list of qualities. These may be people that you need to get a Ruby chart out for. Okay. People who reply back to you every day. I text my distributors every single day for the first 30 days of their business. I hold their hand like a toddler in a parking lot. I don't let go. They are with me 100% of the time. I walk them through everything I know how to do. And if they need me to call them, I call them. If they need me to FaceTime them, I FaceTime them. If they need me to explain everything 20 times, I do that. Because it's not my business, it's their business. And I'm here to serve them because that's servant leadership. So I hold their hand. I message them every day for 30 days. They reply back to me every day. Or at least like most of the time, and if they miss a day, they're like, oh, sorry, like this happened, you know, whatever, and they're back. They ask questions. I love when people ask questions. That's how you know who the people are that are going to stick around. Because after the 30 days, if I don't go to them every day, I want to know who's going to come to me. I want to know who's going to ask questions. I want to know who's still going to show up. Showing up is the third one. Willing to do the work and willing to learn. You can take a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink. So they have to be willing to do the work. They sign their 6 customers / quickly. Maybe it takes them all month, but maybe they sign them really fast, or maybe they don't do anything for the first 3 months, and I'm going to randomly check back in with them, and 3 months in, they're like, hey, I'm ready to go. Let's do this. They sign 6 customers. Like, I'm working with them. They're enrolling. Okay, side note, I'm not basing this on what they could be enrolling. Please hear me. I am not basing this on they would be so good. They could be so good. They would be enrolling. They're working because they posted once in the last 2 weeks. That's not the people I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ones who are actually enrolling. When I say are they working, I mean are they enrolling, okay? So are they enrolling? Are they doing those things? And are they excited and are they passionate? Okay, so that's who I'm looking for. So it's really not that many qualities. Like, that's pretty much who all of you are, right? That's why you're here. And there's so many people we sign up who fit those qualities. So it's not hard to be on my list of like, I'm going to work side by side with you. Let's get you to Ruby. So get their chart out and write down a list of the people that I just like was describing that are on your team. If you're like, oh my gosh, I'm thinking of like 3 or 4 people right now, write their name down and then get out a chart for each of them, a separate Ruby chart. And I have my own chart, obviously, but then I also have other people's charts, because here's the deal. Let's say you're going diamond. You may have a girl who's a 400 box who I just described, and you're thinking about her and you're like, ooh, she could go Ruby. But if you only have your chart out, then she's not going to go Ruby because she's only a 400 box. So you might miss her. So that's why I want you to have multiple charts out. Multiple people that could possibly go Ruby, because what happens if that Ruby quits? You have a 400 box under her ready to go. And even if that girl does go Ruby, guess what? You have another person going Ruby. That's solid for your team. You want that. You want Ruby stacked under each other. That's great. So that's what I do. And then whenever I'm placing for distributors, this is one thing that I changed that totally changed the game for me earlier this year. I started moving a max of 2 distributors to every distributor. So I don't move, they're going Ruby, I do not move all 3 distributors to them. I mentioned before that I mass enroll distributors. So it would be easy for me to just be like, boom, 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 there you go. I need you to be Ruby. I'm just going to get you to Ruby so I can quick promote to this or do this and put this in this spot. But here's what happened. I was enrolling people, putting 3 distributors under them, and either the Ruby, the person I wanted to go Ruby, would quit because they weren't as excited as I thought they were, like 72 hours in, and they were already charted for Ruby, and I was like, well, crap, now what? The Ruby did work, but had 0 leadership skills and no desire to be a leader, but I had thrown her into a leadership position she wasn't ready for, and she crumbled underneath the weight of it. Or 3, I had people going Ruby and then eventually going Diamond because I built them all the way there myself, and I got them to Diamond, and then they realized, oh, I don't know how to lead because I don't even know how to enroll a distributor. And my biggest wake-up call was when I needed a Diamond super, super fast for one of my promotions. I think it was presidential. I got this girl to Diamond by myself, and it was another girl, like the double was helping me, but the Diamond didn't enroll any distributors. But I knew her personally, so I knew she wasn't going to quit. So that's pretty much all I needed at that point. I was like, I just hurry up. She got to Diamond, and she posted in our team chat one day and said, I just enrolled my first distributor. I thought, what have I done? What did I do? Because she got to Diamond and hadn't enrolled anybody. And there was no leadership on that entire leg. So anybody else ever had that happen? Put a 1 in the chat. Because here's what changed the game for me. If you haven't had that happen, you're really blessed, and go ahead and take this advice. You won't have that happen because it's going to be really a huge game changer and a lifesaver for you. So I definitely have had that happen. And what changed was I started placing a 1 or 2 distributors underneath someone and requiring them to get the other one, at least one of them. So now I do not have anyone who has gone Ruby in the last, like, pretty much this year, I would say at least since February, who hasn't signed a distributor. Everyone that you've seen, because I got announced as like a top Ruby enroller or whatever, or builder or whatever, popper, every single one of them though has at least enrolled a distributor on their own. And so here's what happens is they have more skin in the game. They have a fast start that they can get. That's quick money that they can talk about. There's no more, oh, I can't share my story because I've never made money. They don't have that excuse anymore. They're on fire. They're excited. Do you remember when you got your first fast start? Dude, I was hyped as heck. So you want them to get excited. You want them to have skin in the game. You want them to have a reason to work. You don't want them to have a team they're completely disconnected to. Right? But remember, you also have those two people and you're connecting them as fast as possible. And they're going to grow in their leadership skills because you're helping them train their distributor. So you're helping them to train their distributor, you're training yours, and you're helping them lead all three. So it just works so much better, and that's been a huge game changer. And once they sign that distributor, then we're just going to fill the volume. And I'm already getting them to get their Emerald chart out. I'm helping them get that distributor. So there's a couple things that I do to help them get distributors, because I know for me, it's easy to sign my distributors. I'm like, I'll just get them for you. But that doesn't create duplication. We know that the real volume in this business comes from a distributor, right? Imagine getting a customer 35 BV for a pick 2, or you sign a distributor, you empower them doing what I'm teaching you. That's 2,000 volume because they go Ruby. Maybe it takes you 2 months, but are you going to enroll 2,000 volume in 2 months on your own? All right, let's say you do, but let's say you sign 2 distributors and help them each go Ruby. That's 4,000 volume. Highly unlikely you're going to sign that much volume in 2 months. And then that's very unlikely that you're going to retain that 4,000 volume past those 3 months by yourself, right? It's better retention, it's better stability for your team in the long run and in the short run. So you want those distributors, so you want to teach your team to get those distributors. If you're a diamond, you know why you want your team to enroll distributors, because you're capped to all of them and you're going to be making some bank on your paycheck, okay? So when I'm teaching my distributors to enroll distributors, there's a couple things I do. Distributor host a post. I have them post on their story. I'll show you my slides that I make for them in just a second. And I can send them to Shay. I think I've sent them to her before, but I'll send them again. And then post their enrollments for their customers. So I make them, I'll tell them like to take the screenshot, and I'll have them make the, like an over story, like where they're taking a selfie cooking dinner. Okay. Nothing fancy or cute. They're making dinner. They take a selfie. They put the screenshot of the enrollment over that, and they post and they say, you know, I'm making dinner for my family and I just made money for my social media business. Anybody can do this business, and I would love to show you how to incorporate it into a busy lifestyle. Drop some info below if you're interested. Can't wait for Amber to start her greens, right? So that's an example of a post I'll have them make. So they get their first customer, boom, what is that going to pay for? Hey guys, I'm so excited. I just started this business. I already got a customer, and I'm going to help them, you know, with their skincare goals. And because of this, we're going to be able to not have to worry about our cell phone bill this month. And I'm so thankful for this business and this opportunity. If you're interested in more info, drop an emoji below. Boom. Super easy, simple, right? So they've already got 6 of these posts out. You think they're going to sign a distributor? You think they're at least going to have some potentials? Heck yeah. And they're doing distributor host to post. And the other thing that I have them do is I post about their story, have them post about it. And so I'll give them some prompts, like the writing prompts we had in like high school. And I'll tell them like, here, you know, write about a time where you struggled to pay for groceries, or write about a time where you just really felt like that you didn't have anyone around you that was encouraging to you, and talk about your business now. It doesn't have to be about the money. It can be about the friendships. It can be about the freedom. It can be about the things that's going to do for you. And I have them do different things, you know, based on, like, I'll just give them different prompts. So then the other thing, so then the story, this is what I was going to show you. So this is the story that I have them make. Hang on. So I have it saved in a folder on over under PDT. and that way I can find it easily. But I literally made these, I don't even know when, and I use them every time. It's literally the easiest thing ever. It looks blurry right now, but once I re-download it, it's not going to be blurry. But anyways, it just says, I'm so excited. It's literally nothing special. It's not even that cute, but it doesn't matter. And it says, I started a new adventure from social media to better my life. And then I go to their Facebook and take their profile picture. This is a good time to talk to them about their social media presence, probably. So I usually will just like throw that in there, and I'll send them this, and I'll put their profile picture here. And then the next slide is this, and it's me, and it just says, I watched this girl on social media bring in money from her phone, so I figured, why not me? I'm already on social media anyways. Okay. Then the next slide, and they post these all at the same time. The next slide is just me and a bunch of friends. This is how long ago I made that. That was an old picture. We're looking for 3 more women who want to make extra money with us from their phone. Swipe up and type opportunity. That's it. I had a girl sign 2 DTs that day on the spot. Her first 2 DTs were from this thing. So easy. And it took me like 2 seconds. And I don't do this at any specific time. I just do it whenever I have like a cluster of people who have finished their training and they're all kind of at the same like point in what I've taught them. I'll go through and do like 5 of them at a time and send them all to them that day and tell them to post it. And then tell me if they get responses. Okay. Let's see. What was the next thing? I think there was like one thing left. Oh, and then the last thing is continue to FaceTime them and cast vision and do 3-way chats with their enroller. So I kind of, or with their enroller or their placement distributor. So I did it in 28 minutes. That was basically the gist of it. I don't even remember what I said. I think I went through everything. I don't know if I talked way too fast and missed a ton of stuff this time, or if I just blabbered the last time, because these were completely cut in half. Like, I spoke way less this time. But anyway, Shay, do you have anything you want to add?
No, that was so good. And I think too, guys, it's so good just to hear, like, to me, this was just refreshing. It's like so many little simple things that I wasn't doing that I feel like if I implemented, it'd be more fun for me too. Like, it's just little things that are fun, you know, to have in conversations. Like those graphics, I'm excited to use those. I didn't even know you did those, Morgan. They're so cute. But yes, I'm excited. I hope that this was a good refresher to each of you. I know that our team, and I know Morgan's team too, like distributors, man, like we can enroll them all day long, but it's a matter of like, are you actually pouring in the same vision into them that your upline poured into you? And I think that tip that Morgan shared about getting their charts out, getting charts out changes the game, you guys. I have an entire folder here. There's 100 in here that I don't know if these people are going to do anything, but when I see their chart, how many of you, and every time you enroll, you're like, where do I place? Oh my God, I don't know where to place. This is so stressful. I don't know what to do. When you have all these charts out, there's endless places for you to place, because then you can match them with the 2 distributor thing. I don't remember the last time I've charted someone since Morgan talked to me about that. And ever since then, there's people step up because they're like, shoot, I just need one more. So I challenge you to take these tips that you wrote down, all these little things. I will have this recorded, and I know Morgan has the full recording that she did for her team. But I hope you'll have a super great night, and we'll see y'all on our next Leader Zoom. Bye, guys.